Hello, Steve White, Tripway 89 for Steve Outs 89. Well, Midnight's Edge did a live stream about what's happening in Star Trek, and there are a few interesting little things in there. Now, I don't proclaim to be a news reporter or anything. Obviously, I just talk about things that interest me, and they had a few little tidbits about Star Trek which I hadn't heard. Apparently, season 4 of Discovery is planned to be happening. They're supposed to be filming November to June. At the moment, they haven't done any filming. Supposedly, that sandwich board was fake, and that was just like done to troll fans. There's a lot of that happening at the moment. A lot of fake news being put out there to try and throw off people like Midnight's Edge and Doomcock and Nerdrotic and, well, not me because I'm a nobody, but people like us who talk about those shows. But what they have been apparently doing, and this is why there's talk of it already being in production, pre-production, is that supposedly to sort of counter or sort of back themselves up against coronavirus, they have been going out and doing a lot of second unit shooting and plates and things. I think they're planning to do a lot of green screen shooting instead of going on location and that, because they can control the environment for the actors and stuff. So there's some talk about that, which is interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. And apparently, any of the filming they've done, they haven't done anything with US actors. None of the US actors are there yet. There's a whole issue with the crossing over into Canada anyway, and they had any rumours that they're already filming with the actual principals wasn't true. So that was sort of interesting to know that there is talk that it's happening. There is some movement happening, but it's not like real filming yet, and there's still some doubt that they're actually going to go through with the series due to funding. But supposedly the whole Paramount Plus thing now has put a whole new level of funding behind a lot of CBS projects. So because CBS Paramount are now joined, so it sounds like there are some things that are going to be happening. Now, so far as Strange New Worlds, there is talk that Akiva Goldsman is going to take over for that. That was his baby the whole time. He's not the best writer. I'm not sure about producer. I don't know enough about him. I was more focused on Kurtzman because he was the bigger threat. But I'm not sure if he had control of Strange New Worlds, if it would be any better or just not worse or different or the same, more of the same. But supposedly that's going to start filming February next year, which seems like a long way away, but then I think about it, that's actually not that far away. And obviously, for some reason they want I assume they go season 3 of Discovery, Strange New Worlds, season 4 of Discovery. But it looks like they're going to go season 3 of Discovery, season 4 of Discovery, and then Strange New Worlds. So I guess they're going to finish off Discovery in season 4 and then just going to go to a whole new show. I'm not sure. Because the talk is that they had a 5-year contract with Netflix, so therefore they have some funding for 5 years. So the idea that they're going to do bargain basement sort of season 4 and season 5 of the show, basically just from what Netflix is paying them, is possible, although if they have money from Paramount Plus, but are they willing to invest it since hasn't rated so well? And I'm really annoyed, why has no one mentioned the ratings for the second episode yet? I meant to Google that and research that myself, but everyone's talked about the first episode. Well, the first episode already aired once upon a time. I'm interested in what happens second, third, fourth episodes. Do people come on at that point? Do people come on from word of mouth? Or does it just does it build up or it keep going down? So I guess I'll do a whole other thing about that when it comes out, but maybe they haven't released the numbers yet. I don't know. But yeah, Strange New Worlds, Akiva Goldsman, I'm not sure, because the talk is that Kurtzman is basically there in name. He's just there because of the contract. He's not actively involved in anything. None of the projects he was supposed to be developing or involved with were mentioned when they talked about Paramount Plus. Apparently they're going to be doing 52 movies, like a movie of the week, or at least one for every week of the year. And there's some thought that somehow some Star Trek films could creep into that maybe Star Trek's home is more on TV and streaming now than feature films, and that with Kurtzman out of the way, they're just going to focus on TV and try and build up an audience like the original Star Trek had and Next Gen had before they went to film, because people aren't really getting into the reboots, and of course they can't afford the big actors now unless they do big tier budget films, and they're looking more of going. Supposedly they're looking more of going back towards Star Trek's past, which was modest budgeted films with reusing sets and stuff from the TV series and the other films, and just really focusing on characters, not really doing the star turn, not really doing the big action film. And that's really where Star Trek worked best. It had a small but dedicated audience that paid a lot of money for merchandise, and they got repeat viewing instead of the mass audience. That always worked. I think they can go back to that model. The audience is still there. The percentage of intelligent people is still there in the general population that will like and appreciate a show like Star Trek if it's treated intelligently. So I have a bit of hope there. Hawley's film is apparently done, and there's talk of him moving on to Alien, and I heard a little bit about that, which was kind of interesting. He does seem to have a clue. His idea for Star Trek was to focus more on solving problems, and he was a pacifist and it wasn't about war and fighting and that. So he might have done a good film. He may still do a good film. They may still make his film, whether they do it on TV or whether they do a feature film later and just utilise the script and the idea if you had a good one and it's already there and waiting. But he's apparently gone. Funding from the remerger, that could be the reason why we're seeing the other big news is that supposedly Ceti Alpha 5 is happening. It's supposedly being called Odyssey of Khan or something similar to that. And they are using Dev, the actor from Slumdog Millionaire that I was talking about before. And I'm not really sure why all of a sudden that's coming in. The other talk also with Section 31 is that that's totally gone, and that they've basically ran out Michelle Yeoh's contract by having her in season 3 of Discovery, season 2 and season 3 of Discovery, and that sort of evened things out with her, and she's gone on to other things and she won't be coming back. And I hope that's true, because Section 31 is the worst possible idea for a Star Trek show. And what would have been interesting is if they'd just done a show based on the Shinzo before, well, maybe not before Michael Burnham, but before obviously the Battle of the Binary Stars. And that would, because that first episode, aside from Michael being Michael, was actually decent. I think they could have done a series with that. It would have been fine. I mean, that eased people into Star Trek, which was the really deceptive thing about All Access. They showed this first episode, which looked almost like a Star Trek episode, just with this one insane character who eventually ends up being taken away and put in jail, thank God, but then you know what happens there. And then you sort of had to pay for All Access, and then what you got was the Michael Burnham show from then on without the Shinzo or anything else on Discovery. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I like her, but I didn't like her mirror character. I liked her original character, and I wish they'd just done something with that. Okay, I think that's everything, all the stuff they talked about. I think the idea of Akiva taking over is better than Kurtzman, because Kurtzman has the wrong idea, absolute wrong idea. Akiva, it's more, he's just not very good. But I think he might actually get what Star Trek is, at least on the very basic level, whereas Kurtzman never watched it, never liked it, didn't really like it really at all. And Michael Chabon didn't like Next Gen originally also, and hates fans and likes to troll them, and says, he's been quoted saying that, so that's not a matter of paranoid, toxic Star Trek fans like myself. I think that's it. I think that's everything. There was some speculation with them in the live chat with the Midnight Edge guys that they could take Star Trek back to its roots, marinate some shows and characters, and then do some moderate TV and feature films that perhaps don't get the big tentpole treatment, but get a cinematic release I'd like. But also they could be streaming films as well, or both, or one or the other. Or I originally, when they did the new films, I thought, well, they'll do a series that'll be based on the Kelvin timeline. They'll either have it on a different ship, or they'll just recast and do just have a sort of break and then have a series with different cast members in that universe that they've established. But it looks like they're leaving that whole universe behind because of all the merchandising issues and all the ratings issues and everything. But I heard that and I thought, oh, I need to talk about Strange New Worlds happening next year. About of course, the whole is season 4 actually happening of Discovery? Is it actually filming? Why are people saying it's filming? Because I was just thinking there were people who were prepping for it, and that's why they've sort of listed themselves on various sites because they want to look like they're active and working. But it looks like they are actually doing pre-production, but whether that actually leads into series, because things can always change at the last minute. But just a few interesting little tidbits there. I'm kind of surprised at Khan things happening. I don't mind him having a backstory, like he's a big character, people are interested, but it's still not really Star Trek, unless there's some story or moral or exploration of the human condition or whatever, which is what Star Trek is about. I don't really know what the point is, aside from just cashing in on the name and the familiarity of that character with the general public and Star Trek fans. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I'm still managing to have hope for Star Trek, and I actually think there will be future Star Trek, and it won't be... I think we're going to move on from Discovery. I think some people have seen the error of the ways. They just need to now get out of the contracts with the people they're involved with and just do it again, but do it as actual Star Trek, without the contract issues and without the people who don't know or like Star Trek issues. But let's hope. Bye.